We often talk about the great challenges of going to Mars. We imagine the physical hurdles that await the brave pioneers who will make that journey. We discuss the intense radiation from the sun, a constant bombardment that our planet's magnetic field normally shields us from. We consider the thin Martian atmosphere, almost a vacuum, which offers little protection and even less air to breathe. We think about the bone-crushing cold of the Martian nights and the fine, pervasive dust that could clog machinery and lungs alike. These are the dangers we can see, the problems we can engineer solutions for. We build stronger ships, design better life support systems, and develop advanced spacesuits. But what if the greatest danger is not one we can measure with our instruments? What if the most profound challenge is not to the body, but to the mind? We are creatures of Earth, born from its soil and shaped by its rhythms. Every part of our being, from our biological clocks to our deepest emotional responses, is tuned to this world. For millions of years, humanity has known only one home. We have always lived under a blue sky, surrounded by a world teeming with life. The sounds of wind through trees, the scent of rain on dry ground, the sight of a flock of birds taking flight, these are the very things that define our reality. The journey to Mars is not just a trip across the vast emptiness of space. It is a journey away from everything that has ever defined us as a species. The colonists who embark on this voyage will face a challenge far more subtle and perhaps more formidable than any physical threat. They will have to contend with a profound sense of isolation, a separation from their homeworld that no human has ever experienced. This is the mind trap. It is a quiet, creeping risk that doesn't announce itself with alarms or flashing lights. It works silently, in the deep recesses of the human psyche, reshaping a person's sense of self and their connection to everything they've ever known. As we plan our first steps towards becoming a multiplanetary species, we must look beyond the engineering diagrams and rocket fuel calculations. We must ask ourselves what it truly means to leave Earth behind. The physical challenges, as immense as they are, might be the easiest part of the puzzle to solve. The true test will be whether the human spirit, forged in the vibrant, living cradle of Earth, can endure the silent, sterile, and profound emptiness of a new world. The astronauts will be prepared for equipment failures and solar flares, but are they prepared for the slow and silent erosion of their very connection to home? Every mission into space carries an unseen passenger. It is not an alien life form or a cosmic entity, but something far more familiar. The human mind. For the duration of a trip to the moon or a stay on the International Space Station, this passenger is a guest. It knows it will be returning home soon. The connection to Earth, though stretched, remains intact. Astronauts can look down upon their planet, a beautiful blue and white sphere, and feel a profound sense of belonging. They are merely visitors, in the grand cosmic neighborhood, with a return ticket safely tucked away. The Earth is always there, a constant presence in their sky and in their hearts. But the journey to Mars is different. It is a voyage of a different order of magnitude, not just in distance, but in psychological weight. This is not a short visit, it is a migration. The trip itself takes many months, a long and monotonous journey through the blackness of space. During this time, the unseen passenger, the mind, begins a slow and subtle transformation. The routines of life support systems, the unchanging view outside the window, and the immense silent void all start to work on the psyche. The mind, which evolved to process a rich and varied environment, is now confined to a small metal box, hurtling through nothingness. The psychological risks of such a journey are profound and not yet fully understood. We can simulate the physical conditions of space travel, but how do we simulate the slow, creeping sense of detachment from an entire world? How do we prepare the human mind for a reality where the planet of its birth becomes a distant, fading point of light? The astronauts on this voyage will not just be travelers, they will be test subjects in the greatest psychological experiment in human history. Their resilience, their sanity, and their very sense of self will be pushed to the absolute limit, far from the comforting embrace of Earth's biosphere. This journey is a form of sensory and emotional deprivation unlike any other. On Earth, our minds are constantly engaged. We are surrounded by people, by nature, by the unpredictable and chaotic beauty of a living world. In the deep quiet of interplanetary space, all of that is gone. The only reality is the hum of the ship's machinery and the small circle of fellow travelers. This environment can lead to a state of mind where the past feels like a dream and the future is an abstract concept. The present moment stretches into a long, unbroken line, and the mind can begin to drift, unmoored from the anchors of its previous existence. Imagine you are on that ship, embarking on the voyage to Mars. The first few days are filled with excitement and awe. You look out of the window and see the Earth, our beautiful blue marble hanging in the blackness of space. You can see the continents you know from maps, the swirling patterns of clouds, and the shimmering blue of the oceans. It is a breathtaking sight, a powerful reminder of the world you have just left behind. You might take photos, send messages back to loved ones, and share in the collective wonder of the mission. At this stage, Earth is still home. It is a real, tangible place. But as the days turn into weeks, a subtle change begins to occur. The ship is moving incredibly fast, putting more and more distance between you and your homeworld. Every day you look out of the window, and the Earth is a little smaller. The familiar shapes of the continents begin to blur, merging into indistinct masses of green and brown. The brilliant blue of the oceans becomes a deeper, more uniform color. The planet that once filled your view is now just a bright, colorful ball. It is still beautiful, but it is also becoming more distant, more abstract. The emotional connection begins to fray at the edges. This process is a kind of reverse birth. Instead of emerging into a world of light and sensation, you are retreating from it, into the silent darkness. The umbilical cord that connects you to humanity's cradle is stretching thin. The farther you travel, the less Earth looks like a world, and the more it resembles a star. Soon, it is just a bright point of light, indistinguishable from the countless other stars in the galaxy, except for its brilliant blue-white hue. You know it is Earth, the place where everyone you have ever known and loved resides, but your senses tell you something different. Your senses tell you it is just another celestial object. This is the long goodbye. It is not a sudden, dramatic event, but a slow, gradual fading. The emotional impact of watching your entire world shrink into a tiny dot is immense. It can create a profound sense of loss and isolation. The planet that was the center of your universe is now just a speck. The psychological anchor that held you is gone. You are adrift in the cosmic ocean, and the shoreline is no longer visible. At this point, the mind must make a choice. Cling to the memory of a world that no longer feels real, or begin to adapt to the new, stark reality of the void. Astronauts who have orbited the Earth often describe a powerful cognitive shift known as the overview effect. From their vantage point in space, they see our planet as a single, unified whole. Borders disappear, political conflicts seem petty, and a deep sense of connection to all of humanity and to the planet itself takes hold. They see the Earth not as a collection of separate countries, but as a fragile, beautiful oasis of life floating in the vast emptiness. This experience can be transformative, instilling a profound sense of responsibility and a desire to protect our shared home. It is a feeling of ultimate connection. Now, imagine the reversal of that effect. For the Mars colonists, the journey is not a short trip to low Earth orbit. It is a one-way path into the deep solar system. As the Earth shrinks from a vibrant living world into a distant point of light, the overview effect begins to work in reverse. Instead of a feeling of connection, a sense of deep and profound disconnection starts to set in. The planet that once inspired a feeling of unity now becomes an abstract concept, a memory. The emotional bond, once strengthened by the cosmic perspective, now begins to dissolve in the vast distance. This process is not a conscious decision. It is a subtle, psychological adaptation. The human mind is remarkably good at adjusting to its immediate surroundings. When your reality is a small, enclosed habitat hurtling through space, your mind begins to treat that environment as the new normal. The memory of Earth, with its wide-open skies, its oceans, and its billions of people, starts to feel like a fantasy. It's like remembering a vivid dream from long ago. You know it happened, but it doesn't feel like part of your current reality. The colonists might still talk about Earth, but it's like people today talking about ancient Rome. A historical place, not a home. The farther the colonists travel, the more this mental shift solidifies. The immediate concerns of survival, maintaining life support, monitoring the ship's systems, and managing the close quarters of the crew, become all-consuming. The mind focuses on what is tangible and present. Earth, now a 6-month radio signal away, is neither. The sense of responsibility for the planet, a key component of the overview effect is replaced by a more pressing responsibility for the mission and for the small community on board the ship. Earth is no longer their world to protect, it is a story they tell each other in the dark. There will come a moment, maybe halfway through the journey or maybe when they finally arrive in Mars' orbit, when a critical psychological threshold is crossed. This isn't about a physical boundary you can mark on a map, but rather, it's a tipping point within the human mind. It's the moment when the idea of returning to Earth starts to feel less like a homecoming and more like, well, a foreign expedition. The very concept of home shifts, from that blue dot far away, to the red dust right under their feet. The ship, and eventually the Martian habitat, becomes their entire world. This isn't some dramatic rebellion or a conscious decision to just abandon the past. It's more like a slow, quiet evolution of the self. The colonists have spent months adapting to a life of confinement, routine, and honestly, extreme isolation. They've built new relationships and new patterns of living, all completely defined by this unique environment. Their brains have literally rewired themselves to cope with this new reality. And here's the thing, the thought of returning to Earth, with its unpredictable weather, overwhelming crowds, crushing gravity, and just a riot of sensory information, might actually start to feel daunting, maybe even frightening. Think of it like this, if you lived in a quiet library for a year, suddenly being dropped into the middle of a loud rock concert would be, well, jarring and probably pretty unpleasant. For the Mars colonists, Earth has become that rock concert. They've grown used to the silence of space and the sterile, controlled environment of their habitat. The living, breathing, chaotic world of Earth isn't comforting anymore. It's a source of potential anxiety. Their minds and bodies have adapted so completely to Mars that, in a way, Earth is now the alien planet. This is why, over time, the colonists might lose the will to return. It's not because they're angry or have forgotten those they loved. It's simply because they've changed in a fundamental way. They're no longer Earthlings visiting Mars, they're becoming Martians. The desire to return might be replaced by a protective instinct for their new, fragile community. The immense effort, risk, and sensory shock of a return journey might just seem pointless, especially when they've already survived the greatest challenge and built a new home for themselves. The silent red world has claimed them, not by force, but by slowly and patiently becoming their reality. You know, the human mind did not evolve in a sterile laboratory. It was forged over millions of years in the rich, complex, and honestly vibrant sensory landscape of Earth. Our brains are wired to process a constant stream of information from the living world around us. We're subconsciously attuned to the whisper of the wind in the leaves, the subtle changes in light as clouds pass overhead, the distant chirping of a cricket, and the smell of damp earth after a rainstorm. This constant low-level sensory input is like a background hum that reassures our ancient, primal brain that we are in a living, supportive environment. It tells us that we are home. Mars, on the other hand, is a world of profound sensory silence. It's really the opposite of everything our minds are built to experience. There are no trees to rustle, no birds to sing, no insects to buzz. The thin atmosphere carries sound poorly, so the world outside the habitat is mostly quiet, except, maybe, for the faint whistling of a dust storm. The sky is a pale, butterscotch color, not the vibrant blue we're used to. There are no clouds scudding across the sky, no rain, no rivers, no oceans. The landscape is just a monotonous vista of red rocks and dust, unchanging for millennia. It's a world stripped of all the subtle, living cues our minds crave. This sensory deprivation is a powerful psychological force. Living in such an environment is like living in a soundproofed room where the walls are all the same color. At first it might seem peaceful, a welcome break from the noise and chaos of modern life, but over time, the lack of stimulation can become deeply unsettling. The mind, starved of the input it needs, can begin to turn inward in unhealthy ways. This can lead to depression, anxiety, and a sense of profound unreality. The colonists are living in a world that is beautiful in its starkness, but it's a dead beauty. A geological beauty, not the living, breathing beauty of Earth. To combat this, the colonists will likely create highly controlled, artificial environments inside their habitats. They'll have hydroponic gardens, video screens showing scenes from Earth, and sound systems that play recordings of rain or bird song. But these are just facsimiles, you know? Like looking at a photograph of a loved one, instead of holding them in your arms. The mind knows the difference. The scent of recycled air is not the scent of a forest. The hum of a ventilator is not the sound of the ocean. The artificial lights are not the warm glow of the sun filtered through a living atmosphere. The colonists will be living in an echo of a world, a memory made manifest, and honestly, this constant reminder of what they have lost could be the cruelest challenge of all. In their small, pressurized habitats on the surface of Mars, the colonists will attempt to build a new Eden. They'll construct hydroponic farms, not just for food, but really, for the soul. These concrete gardens will be the green heart of the colony, carefully engineered oases of life in the middle of a dead world. The sight of green leaves, the feel of soil, even if it's artificial, and the smell of growing plants will be a vital psychological anchor. These small pockets of Earth's biology will be more than just a source of oxygen and calories. They'll be a sanctuary, a place to reconnect with the very idea of life. However, this recreated world will be a fragile and incomplete copy. Every plant will be a precious monitored specimen. A wilting leaf won't be a minor event, but a potential crisis, a sign that the delicate balance of their artificial ecosystem is failing. The garden won't be a place of wild, untamed nature, but a highly controlled technological system. It'll be a constant, stressful reminder of their utter dependence on machinery to survive. The joy of seeing a flower bloom will be mixed with the anxiety that a power failure could kill it, and everything else, in an instant. This desperate attempt to recreate Earth really highlights the profound difference between a natural environment and an artificial one. On Earth, life is resilient, abundant, and self-sustaining. It's a powerful chaotic force that exists independently of us. In the Martian habitat, life will be a fragile, dependent thing, a flame that must be constantly shielded from the wind. The colonists will be the gardeners, the zookeepers, and honestly, the gods of their own small, contained world. This immense responsibility, the constant pressure to maintain life against the backdrop of a universe that is indifferent to it, will be an enormous psychological burden. The children born on Mars, if there are any, will have a completely different relationship with this environment. For them, the concrete garden won't be a pale imitation of a lost world. It'll be the only nature they've ever known. The hum of the life support system will be their bird song. The scent of ozone from the air recyclers will be their fresh air smell. They won't feel the loss of Earth's vibrant biosphere because they never had it. For them, the artificiality will be normal. This generational divide could become a source of quiet, unspoken tension within the colony, a gap in understanding between those who remember the rain and those who have only ever read about it in books. As years turn into decades, the inhabitants of the Mars colony will undergo a fundamental transformation. They'll cease to be transplanted Earthlings and will begin to forge a new identity, one that's uniquely Martian. This change won't be driven by a single event, but by the accumulation of 1,000 small adaptations to their new reality. Their language will evolve, incorporating new words for Martian phenomena and for the unique technologies of their daily lives. Their culture will be shaped by the shared experience of survival, by the stories they tell, and by the rituals they create to mark the passage of time in a world without earthly seasons. This new identity will be built on a foundation of separation. The vast distance and the communication delay with Earth will create a natural barrier, fostering a sense of independence and self-reliance. Decisions will have to be made on Mars for Martians. They won't be able to wait for instructions or approval from a distant planet that can't possibly understand their immediate challenges. This will lead to a sense of us versus them, not in an adversarial way, but as a simple acknowledgement of their different realities. They are the people of the red dust, and their fate is tied to their new world, not the old one. The physical environment itself will shape these new humans. Living their entire lives in 1/3 of Earth's gravity could lead to changes in their physiology. They might grow taller, with more slender bones and different muscle structures. A return to Earth's heavy gravity would be physically painful, even dangerous for them. This biological divergence will be the ultimate confirmation of their separation. They won't just feel like Martians, they will be Martians, a new branch of the human family tree, adapted for a different world. The idea of going home to Earth would be like a human trying to go home to the ocean. This forging of a new identity is really the final stage of the mind trap, but it's not a trap in the negative sense. It's a natural process of adaptation and evolution. Humanity has always been a migratory species, spreading across continents and adapting to new environments. The journey to Mars is simply the next, grandest step in that long story. The psychological break with Earth isn't a failure, but a necessary prerequisite for success. To truly live on Mars, the colonists must let go of Earth, not just physically, but emotionally and culturally as well. They must embrace their new home completely, because, well, it's the only one they have. The story of humanity's expansion to Mars will probably be written in terms of rocket science, geology, and engineering. We'll celebrate the launch dates, the landing sites, and the construction of the first habitats. These are the visible, measurable milestones of our journey to the stars. But the true story, the more profound and lasting one, will be taking place silently, inside the minds of the colonists. It's a story of psychological adaptation, of the slow and quiet severing of a connection that has defined our species for its entire existence. This is the challenge we're least prepared for. This transformation won't be a sudden event. There won't be a single day when the colonists declare their independence from Earth. Instead, it'll be a gradual drift, an imperceptible shift in perspective that occurs over many years. It'll happen in the quiet moments. A colonist gazing at the tiny blue dot in the sky and feeling nothing. A child asking what rain feels like. A community decision made without any thought to what Earth's mission control might say. Each of these small moments is a thread being cut, slowly loosening the bond that ties them to their ancestral home. The ultimate outcome of this silent transformation is the birth of a new kind of human. They'll be our descendants carrying our DNA and our legacy, but they'll be fundamentally different. Their minds will be shaped by a red sky, their bodies by a weaker gravity, and their souls by a profound and unbreakable connection to their new world. They'll look back at Earth not with longing, but with a kind of fond, historical curiosity, the way we look back at the ancient civilizations that came before us. It was the cradle, but humanity has learned to walk, and it has walked to another world. As we stand on the precipice of this new era, we really have to be humble. We can build the rockets and the life support systems, but we can't engineer the human spirit. We can only watch and wonder as it embarks on its greatest adventure. The psychological journey of the first Martians will be a testament to the incredible adaptability of the human mind. The silent, creeping threat of disconnection from Earth may not be a threat at all, but rather the necessary and beautiful process of putting down roots in the alien soil of another world, beginning a new chapter in the cosmic story of humanity.